Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This nail set is going to be this fun, bright, I'm calling it a fruit smoothie nail set. So I'm just starting off with a bunch of these gel polish colors over here. This nail design is most definitely not unique and not original. This is not my idea. If you go onto Instagram, Pinterest, any of those places and search up fruit nails, you will find designs that look just like this. But despite it not being an original design, it's one that I've been wanting to try for a while, and I've had these little fruit bits for quite some time now, and I really wanted to use them, so I decided to do my own take on it and see how I can do it. So you might notice that I actually did not put down any base coat or any color, and I am doing an ombre on the nail. So I am just placing down the colors here, and on my ombre brush I actually put a little bit of base coat so that the color would just smooth out and blend out nicely towards the end. It just helps the color fade a little bit nicer, and I'm just fading it right onto the nail tip. So the nail tip is not prepped. I used to like prep the nail, but that I felt like for videos and stuff when I was just doing nail art, it was a little bit unnecessary. You might want to prep the nail if you're doing this on yourself or on a person, maybe doing like a bit of a base coat, but I actually found that this worked really well on tips, so it works just fine for me. And I am just ombreing the color down onto the nail because the end of the nail I'm going to do with like a milky white color to add a little bit of milkiness, a little bit of that like fruit smoothie look. So nothing too complicated over here, and I only do one layer of color. I didn't want the color to be too built up because we're going to be doing a lot of layers. It's going to be a quite layered look. It's going to be encapsulated at the end because the fruit bits are quite large. So I wanted to keep each layer thin, and because I was adding so many different elements to the nails, glitters and the little fruit pieces and all of that, I didn't feel like it was necessary to do a second layer of gel polish because these colors were so pigmented already by themselves. And I wanted to keep the nail as thin as possible because once you do an encapsulated layer, it just builds up a little bit of thickness. So keeping the base as thin as possible as you're working is the best thing you can do to avoid thick nails. So now, as you saw, I just had a bunch of different glitters, both fine glitter over here and these larger hexagon glitters, and I just placed down some base coat. I didn't cure it, it's still wet. I'm just using it as kind of like a sticky layer for the glitter to stick into, and I'm just placing down random glitter. I'm making sure that the glitter is nice and flat. I don't want anything to be layered on top of each other too densely. Like I said, this is going to be a multi-layered look, so we want to keep everything and each layer quite thin, so that we don't end up with anything too bulky. And I really just love how all of the colors play off of each other. They're so bright, and just the subtle hints of glitter all around is really beautiful. I also make sure, as you can see, to get some glitter on the clear part of the nail, even though it'll be kind of covered up at the end, where it's a little bit sheer and they peek through, adds a lot of intrigue to the nail, and it just adds a little bit of oomph. So put glitter everywhere, but I also made sure not to do too much. I kind of just wanted it to be a little bit in the background, but I didn't want to cover the nail completely. So I just kind of placing it sporadically, making it a little bit random, keeping it smooth, and then afterwards we are going to do a layer of a thicker gel top coat over so that it's a nice smooth layer. So I'm using this 5-in-1 top coat from Vettsy, and I'm not doing an encapsulated layer here. That would require just a lot more filing than I really wanted to do, and I didn't find it necessary because I did place down the glitter quite thinly. So it's just a thicker top coat to create a thicker layer over the nails, over the glitter and everything like that, so that it's smooth and ready for the next layer. But I didn't do like a full encapsulation with an apex and everything like that. That's going to come later with a lot of filing. So this was just a way to create a nice smooth surface to move on to the next layer. So while I'm finishing this up over here, I just wanted to remind everyone that the giveaway that I have going for 1,000 subscribers will go until this Thursday, and after Thursday the giveaway will be closed, and on Friday I will be choosing the giveaway winner with a random number generator. It will be completely randomized, so you still have a chance to enter the giveaway. If you would like to, you can check out the video I have linked in the description box below that has the giveaway instructions if you would like to enter. So here are the little fruit pieces that I have, and I'm keeping the color schemas per nail. So I'm doing these little strawberries for the red nail, and then over here we have these cute little orange slices, as well as these brighter ones that I think are supposed to be grapefruit. They have a little bit of pink to them, so it ends up having a little bit of contrast, which is really cute. These are adorable little lemons, and I think these are supposed to be bananas, which is really cute and great. So adding those, and I just wanted to put them all together on the palette so that I can see what I'm working with. I didn't know exactly how much of each one I would put on the nail. It was kind of just a figure it out as I go along. So I just wanted to put the colors next to each other so I can see what I'm working with over here. So we have grapes and I think that's passion fruit. correct me if I'm wrong, or dragon fruit in the little purple section over there. And then I used these little tweezers and a little eyebrow scissor that I use for my nail art stuff, and I am cutting some of the slices and making them into half slices. That way I can fit them towards where the nail is thinner and where we don't want to have too much bulkiness, like the tips of the nails and the sides of the nails. And I think it just adds a little bit of fun dimension and cuteness to have slices as well as whole pieces over there. They're really cute. I was having a little bit of struggling. I was struggling a bit with the tweezers, as you might have noticed. So I gave the nails a very light buffing. It wasn't a full filing. I just used a light buffer just to smooth out any wrinkles in the gel. Not actual wrinkles. I'm speaking metaphorically, just like a little bumps here and there. And then I am placing down these little strawberry bits. So you can see here that some of them are like these full ones over here, and then the ones that have the pink are kind of like if a strawberry was sliced open, which I thought was really cute. And then on the orange one, just placing down these little citrusy bits over here. I was having a bit of trouble. I thought using a dotting tool would help and that it would like pick up nicely, but they didn't. So I just decided to use the tweezer instead. It was much better. These pointy tweezers are great if you need to pick up small little items. And just placing them around. Some of them were like a little bit curved. You saw I was like fixing that little grapefruit slice over there. So just trying to place them down where they won't add too much bulk, but this is definitely going to have to be like an encapsulated nail set. They're just too large to remain put where they are. They have to be kind of completely covered. So I'm just going to place these down here. They're not too complicated. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. There was no rhyme or reason. It was just where things fit and aesthetically what I liked. And then just placing it down here. And they're really, really cute. It's funny because I always wanted to do this set, but this kind of set, I've seen these kinds of sets on, like I said, on social media, and it was just one of those things that I was scared to do. Let me know if there's ever like a design that like you want to try, but you're almost scared, so you avoid it. That was me for like the past 2 years. So I finally decided to conquer my fear and do it now. And as you can see here, I wanted to do like a little bit of like a white fade for this nail set, and I used white gel polish mixed with base gel, but it was just not giving the effect that I wanted. It was a little bit too thick, it was a little bit too opaque, even adding the base coat to it, and it didn't have like the encapsulated layer that I was looking for. So I'm using these two hard gels, one from Morovan and one from Elegance, and I'm going to mix them together, and this is what I'm going to use to create like a encapsulated cuticle area for the nails. So as you can see, it's like a thicker, it's a hard gel, so it's thicker, and it just gives this milkier, smoother texture, and it will also cover and encapsulate the strawberries or whatever fruit on the nails a little bit better than the gel polish did, and I like this effect much more. There was just something that just felt a little bit smoother. The gel polish, it applied a little bit streaky, and I probably could have worked with it, but somehow it just wasn't giving the effect. It didn't look as like milky and encapsulated, and it didn't give the look that I was looking for. You might notice the difference if you were paying attention. But I do want to mention that most of the time mixing two different gel brands together doesn't always, well, sometimes it works out, but it's not always the best thing to do, just because different gel brands, different gel consistencies and products have different chemical makeups, and sometimes they don't jive well with each other and they can cause problems. So if I was doing this on a person, I would not have mixed these two brands together, and I think that's important to note. It ended up working fine, and it cured perfectly fine. But just for the sake of safety and not wanting to cause allergies or uncured gel for the nails, if I was doing this on a person, I would not have done it this way. I either would have had two of the same brand to mix together, or would have tried to find a milky hard gel that would accomplish this without having to mix two gels together. But because I was working just on tips over here, I felt that it was fine. But I do want to point that out because nail safety and health safety is super important, and it's not always the best thing to mix brands together. They don't always work well, and it can cause a lot of problems if you're walking around with improperly cured gel on your fingers. It can cause allergies, it can cause contact dermatitis. So because I did this in this video, I felt like it was really important to mention. Again, doing it on fake nails, totally fine. It ended up working out fine. It cured perfectly fine, but I wouldn't take that risk on a human being. Take that with a grain of salt. Do with that information what you will. Now, as you can see here on this green nail, these bits started moving around, and I realized I forgot to cure this before going in with the top coat. Somehow I just forgot to cure this nail to secure those little bits in place. And at first I was gonna try to like work around it and just like cure it in place once I was finished, but they ended up just getting in the way. So I cured it quickly, popped it in the lamp, and then I continued on with the set over here. So that was just super funny. I was like, why are they moving? And then I realized I completely forgot to cure this nail once I placed down all of those cute little citruses over there, those little green fruits. So now moving on to the final nail, and it's just this was a really easy set. I don't know why I was so afraid to try it. Maybe it always looks more complicated than I think it is, or maybe I don't know. There was something about it. I've always wanted to try it, but I'm like, nah, I can't do that. And I sometimes like hold myself back from trying things because I'm scared that I'm not going to get it right on the first time. And that's just so ridiculous. I don't know why I think like that, but I'm like, because like the only way you're going to get good at something is to do it. I'm not just going to wake up one day and know how to do encapsulated fruit nails if I don't do it one day. And after finally finishing like doing this set, I'm like, what was I so afraid of? I don't know. But anyway, now we are going to encapsulate these fruits. So these need quite a thick encapsulated layer, especially for some of the fruits that were a little bit thicker. So I placed down like a slip layer that is just the base layer for the encapsulated layer to go over. And I just make sure that each of the strawberries have a nice thick protective layer of gel over them. This is, again, the one step from Light Elegance. And well, I spared you the time that it took for me to do all of them and the filing because it was very long. I hand filed all of it. I don't know why. I thought it would be quicker, and I didn't want to pull out my e-file because it was put away and I didn't have room on my desk because my desk was a mess. So I hand filed it, and oh my gosh, my hands were cramping at the end of it. So I would suggest using an e-file if you have one. Hand filing works, as we clearly see, but ooh, were my hands hurting after all of that. My fingers were so cramped up. But as you can see here, it was just a lot of filing to get everything nice and smooth, and then doing a top coat over it. I love this part of the design when everything just comes together. The glitter starts peeking through, all of the colors shine through, and I'm so happy that I finally did this set despite it not being super unique. So many people have done it, but I'm happy that I finally did it as well. So here's the final set. Let me know which one of these little fruit nails is your favorite. I think the orange one is mine, simply because the grapefruit that has a little bit of pink to it really adds a lot of contrast and adds like an extra color to it. But let me know which one is your favorite. I love them all, and I will see you all in my next video. Again, make sure to subscribe for the giveaway if you would like to, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.